It's Wednesday, November the 30th, final day of the month. Good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, St. Lucia, for today. My name is Shannon LEBOURNE. Let me tell you, I'm so glad to be in your company yet again. In fact, these days, there is no better thing that I'd rather do than waking up here with you. And I thank you so very much for waking up and making us your choice. Coming up on this edition of the program, we'll continue the new cost discourse from where we left off yesterday with former Citizen Security Advisor as we piece together recommendations to deal with the crime situation. We'll also hear today from former Government Minister Dr. Jimmy Fletcher, and I'll continue to engage your calls on matters of concern to you. Is your invitation to remain with us. There is so much more coming up from now until 9. 6:01 the time. The latest news headlines, your first news of the day with Shannon LEBOURNE, comes up next.
The morning news, first news of the day, is sponsored by Quartz.
Good morning. Our top story this hour: the main opposition United Workers' Party will share recommendations to deal with crime today when the party officials convene a press conference. According to a party statement, the government's response to the surge in crime situation has been inadequate. The statement says Prime Minister Pierre keeps blaming everyone instead of coming up with a comprehensive plan to tackle this persistent issue of crime, especially with daily incidents of gun violence. The opposition will announce recommendations on what can be done to address the national crime crisis at today's press conference, scheduled for 10 a.m. It will be broadcast live on the party's social media platforms. The government has said that it is working towards achieving better working conditions for St. Lucians working on Canadian farms. Earlier this year, a group of St. Lucian women employed on a Canadian farm worker program complained of ill treatment meted out to them and expressed their disappointment over the program. Speaking to reporters ahead of Cabinet on Monday, the Minister responsible for Gender Affairs, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, said government is in dialogue with the Canadian authorities to refine the terms and conditions of the employment program for seasonal workers. She said, quote, the Canadians have instituted an investigation into the matter and the report of findings will be made available to her. The Department of Labor also met with our women workers here in St. Lucia, and they did give us an indication of what transpired, Dr. Poyot said. Meanwhile, a Canadian firm has been engaged to conduct an assessment for rehabilitation of the Shock River. Hurricane Tomas in 2010 and the Christmas Eve trough in 2013 caused significant impacts on riparian zones throughout St. Lucia. Riparian zones are interfaces between land, rivers, and streams. For this reason, the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project DVRP has sought the consultation services of Canadian firm CBCL. The DVRP is a World Bank funded initiative aimed at reducing St. Lucia's vulnerability to climate change and extreme weather events such as storms, troughs, and hurricanes. The CBCL is a world-class multidisciplinary engineering and environmental consultation service providing firms and government with various consultancy services for the assessment of rivers and streams. The assessment is expected to commence in the coming weeks. More news now as 16 days of activism to eliminate violence against women commences here, and frustrations are running high among NGOs and other support agencies over sustainability and effectiveness of such initiatives. This has been triggered by a lack of tangible support from government to the vulnerable and any serious approach to empowerment. The occasion, which is designated as a time for elimination of violence against women, culminates on December the 10th.
NGOs like the St. Lucia Crisis Center, Raise Your Voice St. Lucia, and many others have been working in tandem with government organizations like the Ministries of Human Services, Gender Relations, and the Family Court for many years to alleviate the plight of victims of domestic violence. But some of these groups are now expressing frustration with what seems like the futility of their efforts. One counselor who declined speaking on camera says that while the 16 days of activism creates awareness, but the reality of dealing with the victims and the fallout of domestic violence is an uphill battle. Meanwhile, Catherine Seelys, current president of Raise Your Voice St. Lucia, expressed much of the same sentiments. She says that the workload is overwhelming with no end or substantial support in sight.
We continue to work every day with people who are victims of domestic violence. We continue to work every day where people's rights are being violated within the social services. And we continue to ask the question, what is the Ombudsman, the Parliamentary Commissioner's Office doing? What is the Legal Aid Office doing? And what is the Department of Human Services and the Family Court doing? Because we seem to be carrying their load. And the government needs to fix itself so that they can do their work. And yes, we are a non-profit and that is what we do. But what we do is not to carry the load of the social services. They need to carry their load and they need to train their workers to do their work.
Ms. Seelys also called on the police to provide answers to the families of the many women who have lost their lives to domestic violence and other violent acts against women. With reference to the recent murder of Kezia Wilson, she says that she hopes the police is very active in the investigation in order to bring swift justice to the perpetrator. She says that although justice is being called for, the objective is an end to violence against women. She mentioned a few of the unsolved cases that were foremost in her mind and expressed the hope that those cases were still active and that the police would soon provide updates to the public. When asked whether or not her organization will begin advocating for a cold case unit within the police force to bring justice to the many unsolved cases of murdered women dating back to the 90s, Ms. Seelys had this to say.
Well, I hope the advocacy does not come from us, but the advocacy comes from St. Lucian women. It cannot be us that carry the responsibility for advocacy, although we continue to remind the police every day that we have unsolved murders of women. Over 14, 15 of them. There is a child from the Marshall Boulevard who was killed and nobody has been arrested. I do not believe, I have not heard any such information. We hope that the women of St. Lucia can raise their voice and speak, because the advocacy is not our purview alone. It is the purview of every single St. Lucian that should want justice for another St. Lucian who has been killed, and another St. Lucian who has been killed, and then the killers walking away around, all over the place. They are among us, they are our family, they are our friends, they are our acquaintances. We sit on the bus with them, we sit at restaurants with them. So we hope that women of St. Lucia will get up and let their voices be heard that they need justice for women in St. Lucia, although we usually add our voice to the fact that and remind police that they need to give us some updates on this thing, or that the investigation is still active.
With the recent certification of the forensics lab, the question of a cold case unit within the police force to deal with unsolved crimes was posed to the Minister for Home Affairs, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, on Monday during a cabinet briefing. And while the minister outlined the plans for improvement of the vulnerable persons unit of the police force, she failed to indicate whether or not plans were underway to dedicate a unit to bring justice to the plethora of murders still left unsolved. Reporting for Hot 7 TV News, I am Eldridge Charles.
The president of the Craft and Dry Goods Vendors Association, Mr. Peter Ras Isaac, is calling out Tourism Minister Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire on what he deems a repeated offense of failing to consult the association on matters concerning vendors on the Global Ports Holding Agreement. According to Isaac, he was informed of an impromptu meeting with vendors to be hosted by the Tourism Minister a mere 30 minutes before its commencement. He says this move on the part of the minister undermines his authority as the president of the association, and he's once again disappointed with the manner in which the minister continues to operate.
The very first attempt at a consultation with vendors of the Dry Craft and Goods Vendors Association on the part of the Ministry of Tourism has gone up in smoke. President Peter Rice Iper Isaac is incensed over what he says is the exclusion of vendors in decisions surrounding a memorandum of understanding that was signed between government and Global Port Holdings for a port redevelopment project in Castries and Vieux Fort. The project is of particular interest to the vendors who are concerned about the future of their operations and the reason for the exclusion in the decision-making process. On Tuesday, Isaac took to social media to express his displeasure with the fact that he had not received any prior notice of a meeting scheduled by the tourism minister on the topic, the Global Port Holdings GPH. He says an official within the ministry disclosed to him that an email was sent and instruction was given to the CCC to alert him on such. However, he was only privy to this information half an hour before the start of the meeting scheduled for 10 p.m. at the Vendors Arcade.
To be fair with the official who spoke to me at the ministry, or the personnel who spoke to me at the Ministry of Tourism, is that she said she had forwarded me an email which I have not seen, and then probably she sent it on the wrong phone, because I have a phone that they have a number from me on that phone, and that phone has I lost it or misplaced it, or you could call it lost. And what happened is that they said the unfortunate thing is that they said they spoke to the minister, to the Castries constituency council people there, Mr. Cauldron, and the Madam Mayor, but they didn't convey any messages to me about that, and about giving me any heads up on this meeting that was supposed to be here.
How did she actually reach you in the end?
Well, what she said is that she was using some numbers, and apparently, I believe she had this number. Yeah, I'm not saying that she didn't have it, or if she find it somehow. But she eventually got me this morning, just about maybe half an hour before the meeting that was scheduled, and that's all I could see, because apparently she didn't have these numbers before, or if she had them, she had not decided to use them.
He says it would have been more appropriate if vendors were given ample time to prepare for such a meeting, as the association has voiced that the Global Ports Holding or GPH MOU has serious implications on their livelihoods, a signing which many learned of via broadcast media.
What we would prefer is that we have some in-house meeting to discuss it with the Executive of Defenders Association, and then afterwards we could go into the area of having the forum with the rest of the vendors, and we would probably make them aware of what's happening, and they would discuss the thing among themselves so that they could have some kind of the frame of mind of what to see, what to expect, and so on, and how they would discuss it, and what they would prefer to say or discuss in the meeting would be something that we would prefer.
He says the official further disclosed that the email, which he did not receive, was intended to get his help in bringing the vendors together and not to specifically inform him as the president that such a meeting was taking place.
It wasn't a meeting where they were directly having any discussion with the Vendors Association, but for me, the president, to assist in helping to mobilize vendors for the meeting. That's, I think, what the intention of the email, and not to invite me officially as president of the Vendors Association, but to notify me and for as the president to help mobilize people to the meeting. I think that's what she explained to me.
According to Isaac, the decision made by the tourism minister seeks to undermine his authority as president of the association. He believes that politics should not cloud one's better judgment, and the interests of people, in this case the vendors, should be made a priority.
The whole question of slighting the Vendors Association, going above them, over the head, and so on, I think is a kind of intimidatory tactics, and I don't really think, I am not happy about that, because I think I always try to separate the issues of in the best interest of the vendors, irrespective to the diverse political situation in the country and the whole differences in people's political opinion about things and how things go. irrespective to that, I think sometimes we need to separate these things and deal with the best interests of the vendors in terms of information and in terms of, what we're doing to furtherance the advancement of the development of St. Lucia. I think is core to all of that, and it should not be where, certain political posture is given precedence over, good sense must prevail, level-headedness, and to work in the best interest of the people who are going to be affected by decisions made by people that was elected in government to give them proper representation.
Tourism Minister Ernest Hilaire was indeed at the stated location engaging in talks with the vendors. Isaac says he was later informed the general meeting was postponed. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
St. Lucia is poised to penetrate the Middle Eastern and North American market to offer its citizenship by investment program to nationals from that region. Following a meeting with key stakeholders in the region, Investment Minister Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire disclosed that the goal is for the island to become the primary choice for secondary investment. Hilaire states that changes will be made to the CIP program as the country intends to improve its offerings.
Dr. Ernest Hilaire has apprised the nation on the exploits of his recent trip to the Middle Eastern and North African region as St. Lucia intends to boost its CIP offerings in that region. Earlier this year, St. Lucia ranked third in the 2022 installment of the CBI Index out of 13 countries with operational citizenship by investment programs. Additionally, the CIP St. Lucia program continues to lead as market leader in the Caribbean region, receiving record number applications for the year 2020 to 2021, according to the latest annual report published by government. The CIP unit welcomed 568 new citizens who chose to invest in St. Lucia and invite them to come and explore the opportunities that exist for further integration and investment in our beautiful Helen of the West. Dr. Hilaire notes that St. Lucia's CIP unit intends to replicate and improve those figures by expanding to new and emerging markets.
We had a major engagement in MENA, Middle East and North Africa, where we spoke to a lot of the stakeholders that we have and basically find out from them how they see St. Lucia positioning itself, how we can assert St. Lucia to be the primary choice of persons wanting second citizenships. So we've done a lot of reflection, and we're at the point now where we will make some changes to the program, more in terms of operational efficiency and strengthening due diligence rather than necessarily any detailed legislative changes. Maybe a couple of minor changes to make things more efficient and to certainly position St. Lucia to make sure that we can now start using the CIP as a major resource for dealing with some of the developmental challenges that we have.
One of the obstacles hindering the growth of St. Lucia's CBI program is that local banks do not facilitate CIP applicants, as these individuals are perceived as high risks for money laundering or terrorist financing abuse. However, due to St. Lucia's highly rated CBI due diligence process, Dr. Hilaire notes that local financial institutions can be assured that only exemplary applicants are being processed.
Well, that's an issue. A lot of the banks are concerned about de-risking. As you know, there is a popular perception that persons looking for second citizenship are always people looking to escape the law, escape surveillance, whatnot, which is not true. I mean, but that seems to be a perception. So there's always, the fear by banks that, somebody who is unworthy might be allowed. But if you think about it in a logical, rational way, we do due diligence on the individuals. The banks do due diligence. Only then are they accepted, and of course it goes through the intelligence assessments, whatnot, and therefore the banks have enough assurance that when an individual is granted citizenship, that person is a person who's worthy of it. But of course, at the end of the day, the banks have to protect themselves as much as they can, and it's just the age we live in now. I mean, if you go to the bank with just about any amount of money to deposit, they'll ask you where you got it from and ask you a set of questions.
St. Lucia recorded 87% overall in this year's installment of the CBI Index. St. Lucia scored 9 out of 10 for due diligence, citizenship timeline, and family. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Kareem Nelson.
Thanks, Kareem. In response to the rise in incidents of crime on the island, the newly appointed National Youth Council executive is calling for a more holistic approach to tackling crime at all levels. Public Relations Officer Genevieve Gonzague says this new executive will apply a different approach when it comes to addressing crime, taking into account socio-economic pressures and generational gaps. Now at 66 homicides for the year, various factions of society are seeking new and creative ways to deal with the crime situation. According to the PRO of the NYC, the council is prepared to take action and is encouraging other stakeholder organizations to support law enforcement in national efforts.
The St. Lucia National Youth Council is having their say on the recent uptick in violent crimes in St. Lucia. According to PRO Genevieve Gonzague, the increase in crimes perpetrated by young people as well as young lives lost as a result is a serious cause for concern. She stressed that it calls for a greater national effort to alleviate the social issue. In joining the fight, she says the council is drafting plans to engage the public and stakeholders through a number of outreach programs, youth development and sports programs, education and sensitization drives, amongst other things.
But the FLNYC does not condone all violence of any kind. The situation on island is very worrisome, and we think immediate action needs to be taken to cope and meet that situation in the first. We all believe that a more robust approach must be taken on a local and national level. That is at the district level, in the schools, communities, and the city of the world. We think that there should be a holistic approach. And I know sometimes we get too deep towards a holistic approach because we hear it so many times, but we really believe that that is the only we could, if not stop crime, prevent it from happening at such a rapid pace.
Gonzague says the NYC is calling for the tightening of police patrols on a national and a community level.
So we're thinking police interventions. We need police officers to have the authority and the resources to carry out their duties. We need to see what patrols, whether it's a bicycle patrol unit, the officers, just also the community. I think that helps to instill not just trust, but perhaps put a down for individuals who may want to commit crime. We're also thinking that there needs to be more community policing. The officers of the different districts, I should say that almost every district has a police station. They should get involved with what is going on in the community. That will assist with building trust again. So many times we hear the police calling for individuals to come out with information. Perhaps if they go out into the community, that will assist with the call for assistance among the police. We're also thinking that the church needs to get involved, the private sector needs to get involved, civil society groups. Everybody in their own small way can do something that will help reduce the incidence of crime and violence on island.
She explains that the council also acknowledges that the realities of the older and younger generations are different, and so consideration needs to be given to that fact.
I think there is always space for improvement as new leaders emerge, as new government, and with us as new executive for FLNYC. I think there is always that possibility to try something different. Perhaps what we need to ensure that we don't do is follow the exact blueprints that have been laid out in front of us. I'm not saying that we won't take content from them, but I think as people or as the society changes with each generation that comes by, then there is need for flexibility when it comes to the measures to be in place, the rules laid out. So that is what we need to do. And I think my executive has been very clear that we're going to be on the ground to assess whether it is that need, because the needs of perhaps my parents in their time and the needs of my nieces and cousins coming up are completely different.
On the question of whether or not more stringent measures need to be used as a deterrent, Gonzague says the NYC believes in prevention over cure and so will emphasize on mitigation, rehabilitative and protective measures to show that crime is not the answer. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
Thanks, Jasmine. More news now are breaking at Our Lady of Rosary of Fatima Church in Leclerc. Recently has led the Archbishop Gabriel Mazer to question why anyone would rob a church. According to him, the act is indicative of a deeply rooted issue within the society that has not been addressed.
On Thursday morning, members of the Our Lady of the Rosary of Fatima Church in Leclerc found that the house of worship had been robbed. Bandits made away with water, juice, a sacramental wine, snacks, and paper towels intended for the church youth group. Just a stone's throw away, Auntie Donna's restaurant was also counting their losses as thieves made off with premium alcoholic beverages and attempted to take a television only a few days prior. In light of these incidents, Archbishop Gabriel Mazer says this sort of criminal behavior is indicative of deeper issues plaguing society.
Whenever we have a breaking, it's an indication, it is a further indication of the breakdown in our society. For what reason someone would want to go into a church? I mean, first of all, there's no money. You don't keep money in a church, what would they want to do except they want to drink the wine or something like that, It's a sad situation, that when people find the reason to break into a church for whatever reason, it is an indication of something that is not right among us. And I always say any form of crime is an indication of a bigger picture, a bigger reality, a breakdown in our society that we have not really captured in the way that we should.
To date, no suspects have been apprehended in connection to either of the robberies. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
Bexar Midwest operators are this hour expressing their displeasure with the deplorable conditions of the Millennium Highway. According to one concerned driver, vehicles are suffering major wear and tear damages as a result of the road. They echo what is being recognized nationally as poor road conditions. More in this report.
Grand Riviera drivers can now ply their trade at the Castries bus terminal with a bit more ease now that potholes that previously overtook the facility have been filled. In a previous news interview, driver Jeremiah Aristide voiced the plights of drivers and passengers who on a daily basis had to maneuver through the damaged and sometimes muddy.
Mr. Mix-up there. We'll get back to that report on the Millennium Highway in just a moment. More news now. The Embassy of the Republic of China, Taiwan in St. Lucia has contributed US $100,000 to Raise Your Voice St. Lucia Inc. for promotion of agro-processing among women on the island. MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, was signed by the head of Taiwan Technical Mission and Ms. Catherine Seelys, the president of Raise Your Voice St. Lucia Inc. on Wednesday, November the 23rd. It happened at the Taiwanese Embassy in Rodney Bay. The signing ceremony was witnessed by the Taiwanese ambassador to St. Lucia and the minister responsible for the public service, home affairs, labor, gender affairs, and that is the Honorable Virginia Albert Poyer. The project will entail the construction and equipping of agro-processing facility on 38,000 square feet of land allocated by the government of St. Lucia, with research and development laboratory, training facility, processing, packaging, storage, intake, external compost, shedding, and demonstration plot for special plants. The groundbreaking ceremony is scheduled to be held before the end of this year, and the agro-processing facility is expected to be open by the end of 2023. 60 women will be trained in life skills, personal empowerment, human rights, navigating the social services and micro business management, and technical skills relevant to agro-processing. Upon completion of the training period, 20 women will be supported with micro grants and monitoring to start micro businesses, which will generate input for the agro-processing facility. Overall, the project is aimed at raising the capacity and skills of 60 women, thereby enabling them to earn sustainable livelihoods and to end the cycle of domestic violence which often accompanies those women who are unable to provide for themselves and their children. The Ministry of Education has been showering praise on the government and people of Taiwan for its outpouring of technological support in advancing institutional education on the island. More in this report.
The Taiwanese Embassy's Information and Communication Technology in Education Development project has been in place for the past 3 years, and during that time, it has equipped over 25 schools on the island with technical resources and smart classrooms, while also training teachers to effectively utilize these tools. The purpose of the smart classrooms is to improve learning at the various schools by utilizing widescreen monitors, conferencing technology, and a variety of other software developments. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Senator Honorable Dr. Pauline Antoine Prosper, thanked the Taiwanese government for their incredible work in ICT within the schools and the millions spent by the Asian nation in equipping St. Lucian students with the skills necessary in the current technological world business environment.
It is expected that learning will become versatile, fun, and innovative. It is no longer chalk and talk. Students can enjoy interactions with teachers, classmates, and other interest groups. There are no longer boundaries to their learning. This is what the Ministry of Education had in the plan, and we achieved it despite the hardships that COVID brought upon us.
Permanent Secretary in the Department of Education, Innovation and Vocational Training, Michelle Charles, says the Taiwanese government enabled the ministry to achieve its education reform strategy of integrating technology into education in line with international norms and standards.
Ambassador, kindly extend our gratefulness to your government, the ICDF, and our friends at your embassy for working alongside us to move our education system along a continuum that will put us on par with the rest of the world. Thank you for supporting our vision for the integration of information and communication technologies in education.
Taiwanese Ambassador His Excellency Peter Shen expressed his country's delight at the opportunity to collaborate with St. Lucia in reforming education. He is optimistic that St. Lucia will continue to make the full shift to integrating technology into its educational system, thanks to the intervention.
And every time when I visit this school, I can tell from the energy and excitement of school faculties and students that they enjoy the new equipment and they are ready to step into a digital and fast-changing world. Therefore, in connection with the project policy adopted in our prior implementing agreement, the ICT in Education project is ready to transfer to the government of St. Lucia.
The initiative, funded by the Taiwan International Cooperation and Development Fund, ICDF, also provided over 400 tablets and over 300 Chromebooks to schools across the island. From the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Education, Sustainable Development, Innovation, Science, Technology, and Vocational Training, I am Chris Satney reporting.
Finally, from us this hour, let's recap an earlier story. Bexar minibus operators are airing their displeasure with the deplorable conditions of the Millennium Highway. According to one driver, vehicles are suffering major wear and tear damages as a result of the poor roadway. More in this report.
Members of the Bexar Minibus Association are at their wits' end with the dreadful state of the Millennium Highway. The drivers feel that they have been neglected and forgotten as they have been forced to traverse the deplorable road multiple times a day with no amelioration. As a result of this, the drivers echo that their vehicles have sustained multiple mechanical issues. The crux of their grievance is the plethora of potholes scattered along the highway, rendering the roadway almost unusable. Vice President of the Bexar Minibus Association, Thaddeus Augustine, laments that while he understands a major road project is underway, he believes that more comfortable arrangements should have been made for motorists and commuters who journey the road on a daily basis.
But what is so disappointing about that is those who are responsible for that project is not making it any easier for us, the drivers and the commuters. Like basically, we don't exist. I don't know if they don't use the road, and as a result of that, it's like that's the forgotten part of the country, and we are very unhappy about it because it is taking a tremendous toll on our vehicles as well as on our health. Because imagine you're driving on that most times I go up that road like 14 times, 7 up, 7 down. And imagine the amount of bumps that my back have to endure. And I would also imagine the commuters, because many of them do complain that, that road is very detrimental to their own well-being. So I feel that, whoever is responsible for that project should at least make it a little more comfortable for us, the commuters and the drivers.
The drivers disclosed that the wear and tear damages their vehicles suffer are insurmountable. One driver expressed that his daily operations mainly consist of dodging potholes.
The entire tunnel road in a mess. And then we have to be traveling there every day. Sometimes for the day you go up and down there about 8 times for your day. 8 by 2 is like 16. So that's the amount of times we have to be passing through there. You've never been to the tunnel road to see the condition of it? So we would really like the authorities, whosoever in charge, to do something about that for us. Because it's really not deplorable conditions. Look, I just changed rubbers under my van and it already started back making noise. I have to buy rubbers to change again. You understand? Yeah, so that's basically what it is with me. The tunnel road, even if they cannot fix it yet, because the way things going on there is not that I could see it will be fixed in a hurry. So at least for now, at least patch some of the holes for us. We're not asking too much, just patch some of the holes. Because right now in the tunnel hole, you have to pick which hole to go in. You cannot escape the holes. You have to pick which hole to go in. And the passengers complaining. Well, then their waist hurting them, their back hurting them, you're mashing up their belly and it's not your fault.
Damien Remy, another minibus operator, is advocating for a united call against what he describes as an atrocity. He is imploring the relevant authorities to review the current road conditions.
We need to speak about that. All the president of the bus association need to speak about that because it is terrible. And the bypass they make for us, the bypass is full of big holes and trucks are passing up and down. So you see it making it worse for us. You understand what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we working, we might make maybe $150, $200 a day, but then when you have to buy a part, it's going to cost you $300, $400. So, we really need them to look at that and make a proper bypass. If they could grade the road, fill all the holes, you could make a 2-lane right there. Why is you working on the other side? I mean, there's no one to think about that.
C.O. Williams Construction Company is currently embarking on the Millennium Highway to Cul-de-sac Roundabout project, which is inclusive of several rehabilitative and reconstruction works along the road network. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Kareem Nelson.
Thanks, Kareem. Before we end, the recap now of our top story. The main opposition, United Workers' Party, will share recommendations to deal with crime today when the party officials convene a press conference. According to a statement, the government's response to the surging crime situation has been inadequate. The statement from the opposition says the Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre, keeps blaming everyone instead of coming up with a comprehensive plan to tackle this persistent issue, especially as the daily incidents of gun violence continue. The opposition will announce recommendations on what can be done to address the national crime crisis at today's press conference, scheduled for 10 a.m. It will be carried live on the party's social media platforms. With that, we come to the end of the morning news, your first news of the day with Shannon LeBourne.
The morning news, first news of the day, is sponsored by Quartz.
Ooh la la! See what's new at Quartz. We've got great deals on living and dining room sets, appliances, electronics, and smart devices, and more. Shop today with no cash using Quartz Ready Finance, 3 to 48-month payment plans available. Shop in-store or online at shopquartz.com. Come see what's new and take advantage of these great deals. Only at Quartz. Bringing value home. Conditions apply.
Good morning, 6:40 now the time. Sports is next. Let's bowl off the sports this hour with news that the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports has named an 18-member squad for the under-15 cricketers to represent St. Lucia in the 2022 Winlot Inc. WICB under-15 cricket tournament scheduled to take place right here in St. Lucia from December the 10th to the 17th. The players named as follows: Theo Edward from the St. Lucia Sports Academy, Jonathan Daniel, Zanaki Louis, Bajon Fanis, Tyler Vanar, Jaden Kodra, Aaron Sinclair, Aiden Scholar, Royston Fanis, Sheldon Willie, Leon Alexander, Caleb Neptune, Cody Fontenelle, Jaime Simon, Christian Peter, Caleb Thomas, Janelle Williams, and Danzija Paul. The final national team of 13 and 5 reserve players will be named following the training program scheduled for December 3rd and 4th this coming weekend. The St. Lucia Football Association Inc. continues to celebrate Women's Football Month, staged Girls Festival this past Saturday, November the 26th at the Super Mini Stadium. A total of 66 young girls ranging from ages 10 to 14 participated in a 3-hour-long skill development session. The participants came from 9 football leagues, namely Canaries, Central, Castries, Choiseul, Deriso, Leclerc, Mico, Roseau, Soufrière, and V4 South. The activity consisted of 6 stations where the participants formed specific skills for a period of 10 minutes, following which they rotated to another station until they completed all 6. The sessions concluded with a 30-minute football game, 15 minutes a half, where the participants were further assessed. According to the organizers, the day's objectives were met and they were very pleased with the talent on showcase. Next up today, Wednesday the 30th of November, the St. Lucia Football Association Inc. will make a special donation to the Donatus School as part of the observance of Women's Football Month. Amid an upsurge in crime, particularly homicides on the island, the St. Lucia Basketball Federation, SLBF, in collaboration with 9450 Sports and Rise St. Lucia, is planning to embark on an initiative to foster peace while raising gun violence awareness. SLBF President Leslie Colomore is hopeful the new initiative, Shoot Baskets, Not Guns, will become an annual event providing a safe outlet for distressed communities. The whole aim of the program is to go into the various communities to have fun, engaging activities that everyone can participate in: free-flow competitions, exhibition games, skill challenges, fun sports, and we want to encourage corporate St. Lucia to partner and come on board, where they will offer prizes and incentives to members of the communities and participants. Colomore said the initial stages of the program will target the hotspot communities such as Castries, Groselet, Vieux-Fort, and Dennery. He said, quote, "So we are using sports as a form of social intervention to form social intervention of some of the societal issues. The main goals are to provide alternative avenues to conflict resolution and create opportunities through sports while raising awareness to the scourge of gun violence through the game of basketball." Finally, to end the sports this hour, the St. Lucia Olympic Committee, SLOC, will host a press briefing scheduled for Thursday, the 1st of December at the SLOC's headquarters. The briefing will feature assistance being provided to local federations and an update on the SLOC Inc. activities by the President, Mr. Alfred Emmanuel. The scheduled time is 10 a.m. and will take place over at the St. Lucia Olympic House. That's the sports. Weather is next. Final day of the month of November, Wednesday. Good morning. The winds are blowing from between the east, northeast, and east near 18 miles per hour, 30 kilometers per hour, with a few gusts. The weather fair sky is becoming cloudy at times with some scattered showers. The Atlantic high pressure system will generate moderate to brisk easterly winds and rough seas across the eastern Caribbean for the next few days. Patches of low-level clouds embedded within the wind flow will cause scattered showers over the islands during the next 24 hours. Tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the tropical Atlantic during the next 5 days. That's the latest weather forecast provided by the EHERE Meteorological Office in V4 St. Lucia. There's more online via the weather website to www.slumet.gov.lc, or be sure to check out the weather hotline 454-3455. 5-2. We say good morning to you and yours. It's midway through the week, Wednesday, the final day of the month of November. Officially, this is the last day of the Atlantic hurricane season, but as we have grown accustomed to, the rains can continue even outside the hurricane season. You want to keep vigilant, continue to pay attention to the weather reports, and we will keep you updated right here on Good Morning St. Lucia. How was your November? The final day. We look forward to the commencement of December, but let us know how has November been for you. If you celebrated this past month, we wish you a belated greetings this morning. November making its exit off the calendar has been a pretty active month here on the island of St. Lucia. A busy month for law enforcement. This morning we continue our discourse, the new course to discourse, where we left off yesterday with former citizen security advisor to the government of St. Lucia. We'll also hear today from former government minister Dr. Jimmy Fletcher, and we will continue to engage your calls on matters of concern to you. Also coming up this morning, I'll give you an opportunity to win a fantastic prize from corporate partner Flow as we continue to celebrate Christmas. Stay with us. Lots happening this Wednesday here on Good Morning St. Lucia. Thank you so much for making us your choice.
After a long year of waiting, Flow brings you the magic of Christmas giving. Discounts on devices to bring you closer to your loved ones. Prizes to enjoy with your family and friends. And the best in entertainment bundles for everyone to gather around. This Christmas, one gift brings many more. Like more data and speeds to share everything with the family. So sign up, bundle up, switch up, top up, or pay up to win $4,000 in cash or appliances plus other weekly prizes. For the best in Christmas deals and rewards, visit discoverflow.co.
Ooh la la! See what's new at Courts. We've got great deals on living and dining room sets, appliances, electronics, and smart devices, and more. Shop today with no cash using Courts Ready Finance, 3 to 48-month payment plans available. Shop in-store or online at shopcourts.com. Come see what's new and take advantage of these great deals. Only at Courts, bringing value home. Conditions apply.
Get your clothes sparkling clean with whiter whites and brighter colors. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. Ultra concentrated formula gives more washes with brightening factors added to keep your clothes looking new. And with the added organic fabric softener, your clothes will be soft and fluffy. Joby antibacterial washing powder is also effective in stain removal for cleaner, brighter, softer clothes with the sweet scent of early spring morning. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. My family, my love, my Joby. Available at supermarkets island-wide. For orders, call 455-3076.
Mourning a loss? Hot 7 TV wants to help you celebrate the beautiful memory of your loved one with In Loving Memory, Celebrating Lives. Whether it's a birthday, a wedding anniversary, or some memorable occasion, or the anniversary of the passing of the dearly departed, Hot 7 TV will create a moving video tribute of that special person, showing how much he or she meant to you. Treasured memories, unforgettable moments. Share them with the world and repeat the airing as often as you'd like. Help keep your loved one's memory alive forever in the minds and hearts of all who care. In Loving Memory, celebrating lives. Contact us at telephone number 452-6040 or email us at inlovingmemory@caribbeanhottv.com.
Good morning, St. Lucia. Vibes at sunrise. An informative, enlightening, stimulating package. It can be taken as your morning cup of tea. Fortuna Anthony endorsing Vibes in the Morning.
Welcome back on this Wednesday, just about 7 minutes before 7. Good morning. If you have to work this morning, we wish you the very best. Be sure to take us everywhere that you go. We're mobile by the Hot 7 mobile application, so take us with you wherever it is that you go. This morning we go up until 9 o'clock. In just a bit we give you an opportunity to win one of our Christmas prizes here on the platform Stereo First. But let's now give you the word of the day, sponsored by Joby Laundry Detergent, distributed in St. Lucia by Fruitsy Food Limited. Joby antibacterial washing powder, my family, my love, my Joby, the sponsors of our word of the day. Today it's an adjective, eccentric. Eccentric, today's word, and it means eccentric usually describes people and things that deviate from conventional or accepted usage or behavior, especially in odd or whimsical ways. It is also used technically to mean deviating from a circular path and located elsewhere than the geometric center. Today's word, an adjective, eccentric. We use it now in a sentence. Down the road from us lives an eccentric old man who claims that he can communicate with the birds that roost in his yard. Interesting one today, eccentric, an adjective. Thanks so much, Dan, and thanks to our good friends over at Fruitsy Food Limited. They are the distributors of Joby antibacterial washing powder. My family, my love, my Joby.
Get your clothes sparkling clean with whiter whites and brighter colors. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. Ultra concentrated formula gives more washes with brightening factors added to keep your clothes looking new. And with the added organic fabric softener, your clothes will be soft and fluffy. Joby antibacterial washing powder is also effective in stain removal for cleaner, brighter, softer clothes with the sweet scent of early spring morning. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. My family, my love, my Joby. Available at supermarkets island-wide. For orders, call 455-3076.
6:55 now the time in St. Lucia and across the Eastern Caribbean. Good morning to all of our viewers online, and those of you viewing at home, thanks for making us your first and only choice via the Hot 7 plug and play. Up next on Good Morning St. Lucia, your financial tip for the day. We put together a pretty cool feature here on the program where we call You and Your Money. The whole idea is for us to share with you what we know is free but valuable advice on how you can make more money and make greater use of the money that you have in your quest invest to grow your dollars. So up next, your financial tip for today.
And now for your financial tip. Learn to budget. Know where your money goes. Never let your expenses exceed your income, and always keep your eye open on where your money goes. Once you actually start tracking how you spend your money, it can be a valuable wake-up call to realize the cost of buying food from a restaurant every day adds up over the course of a month. Unlike a salary increase, which is in the hands of your boss to a large extent, small changes in your everyday expenses, like preparing food at home, are completely under your control, and they can have as big an impact on your financial situation as getting a raise. This was your financial tip.
Your financial tip for today. Be sure to join us tomorrow, Thursday, the 1st of December. We'll have another one of those financial tips for you right here on the platform. Up next, I'm going to give you an opportunity to win a fantastic prize from our corporate sponsor, Flow. Let me tell you, this Christmas, one gift could bring forth many, many more over at Flow. Stay with us. We'll be back with a question. You get the correct answer, I'll give you a fantastic prize. I'll tell you lots more momentarily. Let's take a word from our sponsor, Flow, as we get ready to warm up somebody's hearts closer and closer to Christmas. Stay with us now. We'll be back in 30 seconds time.
After a long year of waiting, Flow brings you the magic of Christmas giving. Discounts on devices to bring you closer to your loved ones. Prizes to enjoy with your family and friends. And the best in entertainment bundles for everyone to gather around. This Christmas, one gift brings many more. Like more data and speeds to share everything with the family. So sign up, bundle up, switch up, top up, or pay up to win $4,000 in cash or appliances plus other weekly prizes. For the best in Christmas deals and rewards, visit discoverflow.co.
This Christmas, one gift brings many more. Let me give you a fantastic item this morning worth $110. So we will give you now a 30-day prepaid plan from Flow, of course, St. Lucia's #1, a 30-day prepaid plan. So you have data for the entire month of December from today. 30 days, $110, all yours. If you can simply tell me this morning how many retail outlets does Flow have and what are their locations. How many retail outlets does Flow have and what are their locations? Pretty simple this morning. Let's get on the go with Flow. You can give us a call, 450-0777, or send us a WhatsApp, 584-0600. We're powered by Flow, and we invite you to get on the go this morning. Our 30-day prepaid plan from St. Lucia's #1. The value of that plan, 110 EC dollars. Don't mind the prices you've been hearing other places at Flow. It's only $110. So we invite you to ditch and switch this Christmas season. Anybody on the lines? 450-0777. I thought Michaela made it quite easy with those questions. Again, I'll ask the question and give you an opportunity to give us a call. The question again, how many retail outlets does Flow have and what are their locations? Look at Kay. You can't answer, Kay. You can't take part. Look at Kay on her fingers. 1, 2. Nah, you can't take part. It's all for you, our listeners, as we give back to you this festive season. If the kind compliments of St. Lucia's #1. We have a caller on the line. We'll patch that caller through right about now. Christmas is here. A Hot 7 TV and a Good Morning St. Lucia. Good morning. Welcome to the platform. We lost the call. We lost a call? Alright, so caller, give us a call back, 4500777. We do apologize to you for that. Just give us a call back with the correct answer, and we'll engage you this morning. A 30-day prepaid plan. That's call, data, text, the whole works with St. Lucia's #1 telecoms provider, Flow. 30-day prepaid plan, value 110 Eastern Caribbean dollars. Yours now, if you can tell me how many retail outlets does Flow have and what are their locations. We also accept your correct answers via the WhatsApp platform, the Flow WhatsApp 584-0600. Is ringing again? Not as yet. A caller will give you just about 60 seconds again, and if you know, we can ask the question lower down in the program. Let's give our good viewers 60 seconds again with this one. And again, the banner is on where you have the numbers 584-0600 or the landline 450-0777. Tomorrow again, we give you an opportunity to win something, this time with the kind compliments of Joby. Stay with us here on Good Morning St. Lucia. We'll give you an opportunity to guess the right price and win something from Courts as well. Saw Petroleum, they have some fuel for you drivers and some cooking gas as well. So lots happening right here on Good Morning St. Lucia. 30 seconds. We're counting down on this first question of the morning. Compliments. Flow, one gift can bring forth many, many more this Christmas. I'll tell you so much more. It's a blue Christmas. Don't mix up your colors now. It's a blue Christmas this 2020. And we want you to get ready with us here on Good Morning St. Lucia and on Flow. No, Dan, I'm not going to give you the 30-day combo plan. We're going to ask the question later on in the program. Thanks so much. Let's take it down now. Let's take it down now. I'll give you an opportunity again later on. I'll ask the same question. How many retail outlets does Flow have and what are the locations? All of these outlets, by the way, open up at 8 o'clock this morning. We go up until 9. Stay with us. We're on the go with Flow. We take a short break, bring on the obituaries, and soon after, we will continue on the new course to discourse where we left off yesterday with former citizen security advisor right here in St. Lucia, as we continue to piece together recommendations to deal with our national crime crisis. We also entertain your phone calls, give you an opportunity to call in on various matters of concern to you. Also coming up later, we'll hear from former government minister Dr. Jimmy Fletcher. Good morning. Thank you for making us your choice. From us, there's no other place we'd rather be these days than waking up here with you, and we thank you for waking up with us as well. Happy holidays.
Regret to announce the death of Francis John, better known as Cock of Olio, who died on the 16th of November 2022 at the age of 62. The funeral service for the late Francis John, better known as Cock, will be announced in a subsequent broadcast. His body now lies at Rambali's Funeral Parlor, Calvary Road, Castries. May his soul rest in eternal peace. The death is announced of Rachel Monrose, also known as Monica Clark, of Bruceville View Fort. She passed away at her residence on Friday, November 11, 2022, at the age of 75 years. The funeral arrangements for the late Rachel Monrose, also known as Monica Clark, will be announced in a subsequent broadcast. The body now lies at Lazarus Funeral Home, New Dock Road, View Fort. May she rest in perfect peace. With heavy hearts, we announce the death of Peter Edward, also known as Darius Dal Paposi or Jala of Margaretut Miku, who passed away at the St. Jude Hospital on Tuesday, November 8, 2022, at the age of 84 years. The funeral arrangements for the late Peter Edward, also known as Darius Dal, Paposi or Jala of Margaret Miku, will be announced in a subsequent broadcast. His body now lies at Umbali's funeral parlor, Latuni View Fort. May he rest in peace. The management and staff of Hot FM Communications would like to extend our deepest condolences to the grieving families.